Right, so today we're going to do something slightly different. We're going to do revision of all of the vocabulary that we have covered so far. I'm going to write an essay and try and put all of the vocabulary that we have covered into one essay. We've done 19 videos, so 19 words or phrases that I've taught you, and we'll see if we can get it all into one essay. Be aware this is a vocabulary exercise, so maybe the task response won't be so great, or the CC, the logic, won't follow so well, because I'm trying to force this vocabulary in. So don't take it as a perfect essay in terms of TR and CC. It's a vocabulary exercise. But still, I think we can come up with a pretty good essay nonetheless. It will be a challenge, so let's see if we can do it. Okay, so this is the question that we're going to look at. Due to population growth, many people these days live in apartments with limited space and no outdoor areas. Do the advantages of this trend outweigh its disadvantages? So the topic is probably cities. Now I see population growth over there. That makes me think of on the rise. And then we did under increasing pressure, under pressure for opening sentences. So let's see if we can use two of those. Here is our list of 19 things that we're going to try and use. I'm going to try and use under increasing pressure and on the rise, has been on the rise, something like that. So there's my first sentence. The populations of many cities have been on the rise for several decades. Very nice. I've got some present perfect. I've even got the word decades. And this is putting urban infrastructures. Great. I'm using that word infrastructures under increasing pressure. So we've used two of them immediately. Once I use them, I'll cross them off. Now we need to do some kind of a paraphrase of all of this. So I'm going to try and use a such as. It's always good. Maybe it's not such a great idea for the introduction, but we're just trying to use as much as we can. And then I'm going to use inadequate. So that's a such as with some very specific nouns. One consequence of this is that living space is severely restricted. That's people live in apartments with limited space, so there's nothing there. And people have inadequate access to outdoor areas. So no outdoor areas. I managed to use inadequate access to outdoor areas. And then I just threw that in over there. I don't know if you really should do it in the paraphrase, but it can't hurt. I just wanted to get some more vocabulary in. Parks and green belts. Great. Now onto our thesis statement. Always with a thesis statement, I try and use the word potential. We did that in day 3. And here's my thesis statement. Although this development brings several potential advantages, I will show in this essay that these advantages are outweighed by the drawbacks. Great. Let's move on. So I'm going to say there are a couple of advantages, but then my main paragraph is going to be about the disadvantages, so body paragraph 2. So now I need a topic sentence for just showing the examiner that this is the advantages paragraph. I haven't managed to include any of our vocabulary in that. With the topic sentence, don't go too crazy with the vocabulary. Topic sentence is very much a CC sentence, just introducing. And it can also be a paraphrase sentence. So yes, for vocabulary it is important because of paraphrase, but not with introducing new words. Anyway, let's move on. My first point, I'm going to try and, this is where it gets a bit funny for this essay, I'm going to try and use biodiversity. You might say, how can we use biodiversity in the cities? I'm going to say that it takes pressure off the countryside, so the biodiversity in the countryside can flourish. So that's an advantage of more people living in the cities. Maybe not the greatest TR, but not so bad. Firstly, it takes pressure off the countryside. So remember we used put things under pressure, put pressure on. You can also say it takes pressure off sometimes, with the result that the biodiversity of the flora and fauna in rural ecosystems can flourish. So I've also managed to include some nice vocabulary over there. Not bad. I'm not going to develop this paragraph too much. It's not my main paragraph. I'll develop my disadvantages paragraph more. But you could probably put a for example sentence in here. I'm not going to do it because I want to move on, but you could do a for example over there. So what can I look for? I'm just going to try and fit in another such as, because I want to say something about carbon emissions, and people aren't commuting between the countryside and the city, so it's less carbon emissions. Also, since emissions such as carbon dioxide and methane, so that was this using such as carbon dioxide and methane gives me some really powerful, highly specific vocabulary. Emissions such as carbon dioxide and methane play such a prominent role in global warming. There I managed to do a prominent role in global warming. Having many people living closer together could help to combat climate change. So I've got prominent role in there, and I've got emissions, another such as. So we can cross prominent out. Great, so stick with me. This paragraph wasn't so great, but it gets better from here. Trust me. Topic sentence for my disadvantages. This is going to be my main paragraph now. I used that. I'm going to try and use social and environmental factors, but I actually changed a little bit. Social and environmental effects. Sounds just as good because it's got these two adjectives. However, this development can have various negative social and environmental effects. Notice in this topic sentence, you can use a reference pronoun, this, it. But in this topic sentence, you must use a paraphrase. You shouldn't just use a reference pronoun. Also notice I have been doing hedging all along. There's a could, there's a can. So I have got my hedging. So we can cross off social and environmental factors. And we can cross off the hedging. I'll keep on doing the hedging. Great. Next, we want to have our first idea sentence. What can we see over here? I'm going to say something about people's mental and physical well-being. Very nice. Perhaps the most serious of these, again, notice nice reference pronoun. Most serious of these, it can be detrimental to people's mental and physical well-being. So we've used mental and physical well-being, and we've used can be detrimental to. You could also say have a detrimental effect on if you wanted to. Great, you're doing well. Now we want to develop that sentence a bit. So we've got mental and physical. So I'm going to develop for mental, and then I'm also going to develop for physical. So I've said too many people living together in cramped quarters can lead to conflict between them, which can in turn lead to an increased prevalence of bullying and mental illness. Maybe not the greatest task response or CC, but I think it's fine. The logic is fine. It's not terrible. But we've used prevalence, an increased prevalence of. So useful. Now I want to develop the physical well-being thing. What can we do? Further, exercise is fundamental to good physical health. So now the examiner knows I'm moving on to develop this physical aspect. Exercise is fundamental to good physical health, and lack of access to outdoor areas to exercise can therefore cause health problems. And again, I've managed to do a nice such as with some really great, highly specific nouns over here. Great, but I got fundamental in there. I did another one of these such as's, and I got fundamental in. Is fundamental to. Now we must do the second idea. I'm going to try and use sanitation and access to sanitation services such as adequate sewage disposal and clean drinking water. Wonderful. But I'll use that in the next sentence. For example, people don't have good access to. So I just need to set that up. Just with a regular. Secondly, too many people in a limited space. Again, a kind of paraphrase. Can place pressure on. We're using pressure on again. Under increasing pressure, put pressure on a neighborhood's infrastructure, using it again. So it's nothing from our list. It just sets me up for the use of, for example, sanitation. For example, it can have a detrimental effect on sanitation services such as adequate sewage disposal and clean drinking water. Great. So I managed to get detrimental in there and this whole sanitation thing. Lovely. Great. On to the conclusion. What do we still need? Maybe I'll talk. We've done biodiversity. Witness, I can use that. Provide welcome change, I can use that, but I'll try and use vulnerable now and witness. The changes that cities have witnessed in recent decades have caused, we could say the population growth that cities have witnessed, change is fine, have caused residents to be more vulnerable to various negative social and environmental dangers, using that again, than in the past. Very nice. So I've got a more than compared to in the past. More than in the past. Great. So I got vulnerable in and witness. Cities have witnessed. Provides a welcome change, impose a tax, enact a law. So I'm going to cheat a little bit now. This is a advantage, disadvantage essay, so you don't really need to put solutions here. Teachers are actually divided on whether you should, but in this essay I'm just going to put some solutions in just so that we can use impose a tax and enact a law. This is just revision for your vocab. I think if I were really writing this essay, I wouldn't put any solutions in actually. Just do a sentence here about the future. If blah, 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 blah. Use a conditional. But I want to use impose a tax, enact a law. So I've put some solutions in. Local government should impose higher taxes on city dwellers and enact laws which forbid too many people from living in limited spaces. And what's left? We've done that. So we need biodegradable and provides a welcome change. I can't think of anything for biodegradable. Maybe that's a very specific word. But let me try and use provides a welcome change. This would provide a welcome change to the direction in which most cities are headed. A nice would for the hypothetical solution scenario. Okay, very nice. We got almost everything in except biodiversity, but I'm not too bothered about that. The TR is a bit problematic. It's not bad at all, as you can see. I kind of like this paragraph, actually. This is not such a great paragraph. And then, I don't know, I wouldn't normally put these solutions in over here, but okay. CC, great. Grammar's nice, got some nice sentence structures in, but the main thing, of course, is look at all the wonderful vocab that we've gotten in. If I highlight it all, you can see that the essay is actually jam-packed with great vocabulary that we've learned over the last 20 days. And it just shows you how flexible and useful all of this vocab is that I'm teaching. You can really get it into most essays. Great. I'll see you tomorrow. Well done for making it all the way to the end of the video. Please click like if you like it, even if you like it just a little bit, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.